States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We begin, as always, by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the territory of the Ottawa and Chippewa peoples who have stewarded this land through the generations. Thank you for your strength and resilience in protecting this land and inspiring us to uphold our responsibilities to do the same. And with that, we will go ahead and get started with roll call. Sarah?
Commissioner Anderson?
Present.
Commissioner Bomer?
Here.
Commissioner Shaw? Here. Commissioner Treadwell?
Howdy.
Mayor Pro Tem Ness? Here. Commissioner Funk?
Here.
Mayor?
Here. We're already getting into that before break, school spirit here, it seems like. Okay, we'll keep going then with announcements from the interim city manager, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Shamrow, and good evening. I have just a few announcements to make for this week, the week of December 15th, 2025, which is the City Commission's last meeting of the year. I am really pleased and grateful and just pleased to announce that our technology director, Jerry Swanson, recently completed the IT Interpersonal and Team Communication Certificate through the IT Management and Leadership Institute, and this accomplishment certainly enhances his and his team's ability to communicate complex tech issues with clarity and supports our ongoing efforts to improve collaboration across departments. So I want to thank Jerry for his commitment to continuous improvement. And when he shared this with me, he said, I'm just going to keep on going. I've got another thing going in the spring. So that's fantastic. And then I want to just also thank our Streets Division team for their continued work on keeping our streets cleared. And I want to just remind residents and business owners to make sure to keep their sidewalks in front of their places clear, to help any neighbors that might not be able to do that for themselves, and to also clear fire hydrants if you can, so that when moments are precious, our fire department isn't chewing up valuable time making those fire hydrants accessible. I already alluded to this, but this is the last City Commission meeting of the 2025 calendar year, and the next meeting will occur after the holidays on January 5th, and we're going to hit the ground running in 2026, and I'm looking forward to that, and that's all that I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll continue to use Sarah for interim city clerk.
All right, meetings scheduled for this week are the Local Officers Compensation Commission will meet Wednesday, December 17th at 1 p.m. in the training room. The Arts Commission is scheduled to meet on Wednesday.
No.
Nope. Okay. Yep. The Arts Commission is not meeting on Wednesday, December 17th. Thank you for that update. And the DDA board is scheduled to meet this Friday, December 19th at 9 a.m. in the chambers. And I would just like to remind commissioner, staff, and members of the public to speak into the microphones for those watching at home, and the recording of this meeting is easily heard. Thank you.
And since this was not brought up by either of them, I will put in the plug that there is an intense battle going on downstairs in the lobby of gingerbread houses, of county versus city departments gingerbread houses. So please make sure you vote before the holidays, and we can see who comes out on top. There's some really creative ones down there.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll have Sarah continue with the consent calendar, please.
Sounds good. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for individual consideration by the commission. And such requests will be automatically respected. If an item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. 1, consideration of approving the minutes of December 1st, 2025 and December 8th, 2025 meetings of the City Commission. I will, little footnote, the commissioners listed on December 8th minutes were incorrect. It has been corrected and is updated on the website. Okay. Approval recommended. Number 2, consideration of authorizing an issuance of a new retail on-premise liquor license with Class C privileges with Sunday PM sales permit to 51-41-31 LLC, doing business as Blue Goat Wine and Provisions, located at 875 East Front Street, and authorizing the interim city clerk to issue such registration. Adoption and approval recommended. 3, consideration of adopting to make permanent traffic control order 748, which provides for curb-mounted pedestrian signs at 310 West Front Street. Approval recommended. 4, consideration of authorizing a purchase order for an asphalt zipper milling machine for use by the Streets Department. Approval recommended. 5, consideration of authorizing a confirming purchase order for unleaded fuel and diesel fuel for city operational use. Approval recommended. 6, consideration of authorizing an amendment to the agreement for construction engineering services for extended services for an additional $19,110 for the Grand Traverse Commons Water System Improvements Project to be reimbursed by Grand Traverse County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. Approval recommended.
Would any commissioner like an agenda item pulled from the consent calendar? Go ahead, Jackie.
Number 2, please.
Okay. Any others?
I just have some general questions on them, so 3, 4, and 6.
Okay, then we'll pull those. Okay, any others? Seeing none, would anybody from the public like an item pulled that is not 2, 3, 4, or 6? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion. Go ahead, Jackie.
I move the consent calendar be approved as amended.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioners Anderson and Treadwell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll start with item number 2, and you had this item pulled, Jackie?
I did. I am cognizant of the challenging location for this business at the intersection of Peninsula Drive, East Front, Rose Street. It's a busy place, and my concerns are like the business owners, which is the safety of their clientele, very limited parking, and I know that they intend to monitor the safety of their customers very carefully, but I wondered what that's going to look like in real life. What tools do they have to try to manage their 5 parking spaces and anticipated 12 clients at a time? And I felt like more detail about traffic flow and safety was prudent.
And I'm wondering if any of the applicants are here to address those questions.
I know one of the applicants was traveling out of country, and he wasn't sure if he was going to make it back in time.
Okay. So I cannot share exactly what their plans are, just generally, like you said, that they have plans and intentions to do that and to have their events largely in off hours or during the slower times of their business, but that's really all I can share.
Thank you.
I didn't request to have this pulled because you had pulled this, Commissioner Anderson, but how is this application going to change their use from what previously was allowed there? Because they had alcohol sales there before, so what does this change do?
Sure. So the license that they have right now permits them to sell carryout only, so retail. This new license would allow them to have an on-premise or an on-site tasting bar. It does technically allow them to also allow service of hard liquor. Right now they sell beer and wine, but a lot of these types of establishments like to serve mead and hard ciders. They have indicated that their intention is to solely stick with wine, is my understanding, but it does allow for on-site consumption at a tasting bar of any kind of liquor technically.
So to get to this, though, to be able to be before us, they have to go through what is required by state and local laws as a controlled substance to be able to get here. So there are questions, but they've already had to present the plan and the solution, as it were, for this potential issue to get to this point. We don't just say, you want a liquor license, here you go. And you get to expand it. So whoever wants to address that.
That
Could you
is
explain
true.
the process a little?
Though it is true that the state looks at a number of factors, but they don't look at parking and things like that Commissioner Anderson raised. That's not something that's within their purview. I will say just respectfully, it is not a condition of liquor licenses in our ordinance, so it's not technically a criteria that they would anticipate they're going to be evaluated on.
And if we judge on a criteria that isn't part of it, what's the potential for if we were to say reject it for that reason? Is there some legal repercussions to that, Lauren?
I would have to look into the Liquor Control Commission's process and how they would handle that. So if the commission's not ready to make a decision and they have more questions, you could defer it to another meeting. But I don't know how the Liquor Control Commission would handle that.
Do we have anybody who would like to make the motion now, or should we defer this to another meeting?
I move that the City Commission approve the new retail on-premise liquor license with Class C privileges and Sunday PM sales permit to Sebastian Garbsch and Candace Jacobs, and further the interim city clerk be authorized to issue such liquor license registration to 51-41-31 LLC, doing business as Blue Goat Wine and Provisions, and for it to start operating at 875 East Front Street, Traverse City, Michigan, 49686.
Support.
Thank you. We have Commissioners Treadwell and Ness. Okay, so do we have any general discussion? Go ahead, Heather.
Yep, I agree with Commissioner Anderson that this is a congested little corner, it has problems. I'm more concerned with pedestrians. It certainly helped to narrow Peninsula Drive coming out on front, but it's still dangerous. You come up to that stop sign and you look to the left and you forget to look to the right because you don't, there's no traffic coming from the right, and that is exactly where the pedestrians are crossing. I don't know what happened to the Tart Trail expansion down Peninsula Drive. There was a lot of talk about that a few years ago. It's just kind of disappeared. It would be nice, because again, you come off Front Street, you turn the corner there onto Peninsula, and there is nothing. You're just walking on the side of the road. So if we could find out what's happening with that Tart Trail expansion, that'd be great.
Mitch?
I would like to point out that there is a bus stop along the highest frequency bus line in all of northern Michigan, about 50 feet from the premises.
Other comments right now? I would throw in that while I know that Blue Goat has done events there before after hours, just because they weren't allowed to do tastings. They were able to sell and do other events. This isn't their 9 to 5 and then suddenly now they're changing their operations. I know to have somebody serve, you have to have tips certified, you have to have other liabilities covered to operate. So while I appreciate the questions, I don't think that if the real issue is the location, that bringing this back would actually solve the location issue. And we do have a business that's been in operation for many, many years that has not had any issues, that raised any red flags, and that we are trying to hold them to a standard that we don't hold others to for this licensing, which always makes me nervous about potential legal repercussions. So I just am thinking about that as we're having this discussion. Do we have other comments or questions? Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Anderson?
No.
Commissioner Shaw?
Yes?
Commissioner Treadwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Funk?
Yes.
Commissioner Bomer?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Motion passes. The next item we had pulled was item number 3, and this was the traffic control order. And you had some questions about this?
Yeah, as I was reading through the agenda packet, I couldn't really get an explanation of what this pedestrian-mounted curb signs, are we thinking of in the 400 block where there's the raised crosswalk and the crossing arm goes over it that says pedestrian crossing, same thing in front of the Pie Company in the 500 block? Is this consistent with that, or is this just the rubber base, 2-foot tall stop with the little person walking across the street sign? How is this different than those things?
Good evening, Commissioners. Deborah Allen, Deputy City Manager. So my understanding is that this recommendation is that it would be the smaller signs on either side just to enhance the visibility of this crosswalk. It is not the hawk lights or anything more significant than that. It's just increasing the visibility of this area was the request.
Do you have other questions?
The whole premise that this is a municipal traffic control order and that we're going to be enforcing this code, and we're just kind of setting these rubber-based stop for pedestrian in the middle of the street signs, which aren't even in the street in the winter because of the snow plows. It's just it just seemed like it didn't have a lot behind it. I just wanted to know if maybe it was more, but it's okay. Just wanted some clarification on it.
There's nothing of more significance that I'm aware of in regards to this. It's just that It's becoming more and more of a high-traffic area, and there's been more issues, so there was a request to, and the traffic committee sees this as an opportunity just to kind of help enhance awareness.
Great, thank you. I'm good, I'm ready to vote.
You can make the motion then.
Yes.
I know you got to do the agenda item. I know it's.
Yeah, I was on the Blue Goat one.
That's okay.
You move a lot faster.
It's a short one.
I'd like to make a motion that the traffic control order 748, which provides pedestrian crossing signs in front of 310 West Front Street, be permanently adopted.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioners Funk and Bomer. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the next one we had brought forward was the purchase order for the asphalt zipper milling machine, and you had some questions about this, Commissioner
Yeah,
Funk?
yep. I guess this is probably a specialized machine that's a little bit different than just a lawnmower we can buy at Lowe's. Is there a significant amount of training and experience that needs to be obtained or utilized through our employees? And, I mean, do we have employees that are ready to utilize this equipment?
Frank Deturi, Director of Public Services. Absolutely, and they were able to actually show their initiative and their desire to learn how to run this piece of equipment when they used it on the 14th Street project earlier this summer. This is something that we're looking for more efficient ways to get paving throughout the city done, to try to catch up to our road ratings, if you will, and the efficiencies and the benefits that we see with this piece of equipment allows for nearly a 50% reduction in cost, depending on the jobs. That was they're not all going to be 50%. Some may be more, some may be a lot less. But it gives us the opportunity to use a piece of equipment that they already are familiar with. It suits our bill. We've run this through our garage superintendent, and he searched for equipment. We had the demo come up. Chris and his team at Streets are familiar with paving projects, and they did a fantastic job and continue to have the desire to do so. And this folds right in with our pavement asset management plan to allow us to look forward. I think the DPS and the garage and Streets are working together really well, and it's really nice to see this kind of work being done within the city and not have to be always relying upon contractors or consultants, and not just because the savings and costs. It's the savings in when you have an opportunity to do the work, and you can do the work on your own timing. That also adds quite a bit of efficiency. So,
do you anticipate this being? I'm trying to remember if it's Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 or Schedule A or Schedule B, where you actually the rent that you pay for the maintenance fees actually goes towards the purchase of the next replacement.
That's a fresh one.
Is this
this will have an associated rental fee that goes into paying for the next piece of equipment.
Okay, it will be on that for that like A-list schedule.
It'll fund its own replacement.
It's
Yeah.
built into the rental agreement.
Yeah,
That's correct.
I think that's a great way to go about that. And I want to vote yes on this. I just had a couple clarifying questions on it, but I hope we make I know that we had gotten some employees from the private sector world that started to work for the city, and they were experienced, and that's what kind of developed into some of this in-house road repair work, and getting the zipper, having a paver, and being able to do this stuff in-house, which I love and I'm really excited about. I just hope that we make the reciprocal investment in the employees to keep them, because they have that knowledge and experience to use this equipment. So that's, I don't have any more questions. Thank you,
Great.
Frank.
Do we have other questions? Oh, go ahead, Frank, if you wanted to.
I was going to say thanks for asking the question, and like I said, Chris Weber's here, the Streets superintendent. He's super proud of his team, and he's doing a great job with them. And Chris knows a little bit more about hands-on and who's doing that work. But we've been lucky enough to hire folks that have really skilled backgrounds. Some of them with other contractors in the area that paving is something they look forward to.
Yeah.
It's something they could drive home at the end of the day and see the results instantly. It's nice.
That's a good point. Thanks, Frank. Questions, Mitch?
Not that we don't have a long list of projects that this equipment could be used for within our city limits, but would this have to stay within the city limits, or could it be lent out to the road commission or to an adjacent township for a limited project?
I think that question is answered by our attorney. It depends whether or not if it's in the best interest of the city, is my understanding of the way that would work.
It would have to be a pretty unique situation. It is equipment we're paying for, but if there was an urgent, truly urgent need, that's a possibility, but it is equipment that we pay for, as well as its maintenance and depreciation, so it would be on a very limited scenario.
Do you have a question, Laura?
I do. I had just a couple questions on the payback analysis. So did the payback analysis include staffing? Is there additional staffing that's going to be required, or will this just be other activities that will be deferred while staff is using this machine?
I'm trying to understand if you mean a cost-benefit analysis or the way that we're actually, if you're talking about what Commissioner Funk was asking about, essentially the garage establishes a rental rate, if you will, that is based on the sunsetting of a piece of equipment and the value, and then that is how the rental agreement, the rental rate that actually comes up for.
I think, Frank, if I may, the question was really, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, maybe I didn't understand it.
So there was an inference in the memo that this would nearly pay for itself with some of the upcoming projects. So I'm just wondering, when you did that payback analysis, did that include the staffing, or was that just a comparison of contractor costs and the cost of the machine? Is that clear?
The price, that reduction in price that we saw on 14th Street, that included staffing too. I'd also like to bring up Chris Weber. He can answer some of those questions if you like too. It does, the efficiencies certainly have been looked into, and what I wanted to mention was it depends on how often we get to use it on large jobs, and it'll be used on small, medium, and large-scale jobs. But since we don't have an exact list of what we're going to use it on, we don't know exactly how much we're going to save yet.
So you don't really understand yet how many days a year you would use this equipment, or how many times a year you would use it?
Excuse me?
The question is, do we have a clear picture on how many days or how many times in a year this piece of equipment might be used?
I don't think an analysis has been done for that yet. Essentially, our purview or our challenge to catch up with our road conditions generates a rather long list of roads that all need work. So I don't have a list that'll tell you exactly.
And I think, if I may, another way to also address that question is that it's sort of an opportunity situation, right? Where we're able to do street repair, partial reconstruction work in a fraction of the time, which was the case with 14th Street. And so I think as opportunities present themselves, it's not just present themselves, but are identified, that we can do more work in less time and less disruption. That's one of the driving forces behind bringing this forward.
Okay. I think this raises an interesting point, because we have some new commissioners and some situations that maybe haven't even come up in the last, in this case, in the last year or two, but perhaps during the budgeting process or some other part, we can explain kind of how our garage fund works and some of these others, because this is kind of old hat for some of us, but we do, for brevity, we'll say, account for lack of we account for depreciation as part of our purchasing and as part of our budgeting every year for every item that we have, basically. So I think that's newish to how we handle that, and that's how it's fine. Do we have another question or a
Motion.
motion, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to move that the interim city manager be authorized to issue a purchase order to the Asphalt Zipper of Pleasant Grove, Utah, for the purchase of one asphalt zipper milling machine in the amount not to exceed $329,775 with funds available in Street Fund 447.
Support.
Thank you. I'll give that to Ken since he pulled it, but thank you both. All right, any further questions or comments from the commission? Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I have a
Heather.
comment. I totally approve of bringing in as much as we can afford in-house. I just hope that we can also prioritize other forms of transportation, like snow plowing for pedestrians and bikers, and also bringing in our own equipment for street marking.
Yes, and I can assure you that that is going to be a part of our budget development discussion, and you can expect different options presented to you during budget season. The employee team is already working on that.
Great. Other questions right now? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And lastly here, we will move on to item 6, which is the services for Grand Traverse Commons water system. You had questions about this, Ken?
Yeah, we just voted on this to approve this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Sure.
It was not a long time ago, right? This is an addition. There was some additional work that was necessary, and the contractor that was doing that work for the water system improvements at the Commons had more time that they needed to spend there, which then necessitated some more time that we needed our construction engineer on site to advocate on the city's behalf. So it's really catching up to the amount of time that really was required for this project.
Did this project go out for competitive bid?
It did.
I'm sure it did.
Yes.
How close was the next closest bid? Because, I mean, if this cost that was added after the fact, maybe a contractor that bid this job that foresaw some of these challenges didn't get the project because their bid was higher.
I
So
certainly
kinda
respect.
See where I'm going with that?
I do, yes, and this is not something that we take lightly when there are additional time needs that are necessary. I don't know right off the top of my head what the next lowest bid was. I can tell you that this is based on the unit prices that were included in that bid, so it's consistent with that public bidding process in that regard.
So in other words, this was a unit cost and the other bids were a not to exceed.
They
Kind of, yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Can I interject a little bit?
If you can be brief.
I will be
Yeah,
very brief.
thank you.
So this is not really the contractor's cost. This is the engineering overseeing the construction cost.
Yep.
So this was a estimated amount originally awarded based on the contractor's schedule, how many weeks they would be out there, so many hours a week. They ended up working extra weekend times, overnight times. There was a lot of extra work to get it done by the November 14th deadline. And so it was really unforeseen that had to be done to get the job done. That's basically what this is asking for.
Yeah, and I think I had a chance to get the scoop on this. It sounds like there was valving issues with shutting off the water, and it had to be done in the middle of the night so that the entire Cordia building,
Correct.
wasn't without water for their use. So I mean, that's completely fair and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if they had got it done in 6 weeks instead of 9, would we have asked them
Yes.
for less money?
Well,
It was
they
like,
would've
hey, you got
only-
it done faster than.
Correct. They bill us based on what they spend up to that not to exceed amount, but if they're under, we don't get billed for the remainder.
This was a not to exceed bid.
It is typically with our engineering services.
Okay,
Yes.
that's completely fair then. All right.
Do we have more questions or a motion? Go
I'll
ahead,
make a motion.
Great.
I move that the mayor and interim city, make sure I'm reading the right one. Yes, the mayor and the interim city clerk be authorized to execute a contract amendment with Hubble, Roth, and Clark, HRC, for an additional not to exceed amount of $19,110 for a revised total of $117,610 for the extended construction efforts. Such contract agreement subject as to its substance by the interim city manager and its form by the city attorney.
Support.
Thank you, Commissioners Bomer and Anderson. Any further discussion on this item from the commission? Seeing none, any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, get my agenda back up here. Okay, so moving on to old business, our first order of old business is consideration of appointing Benjamin Marentet as the official city manager. Just in brief, there's a memo here, but we went through, negotiated, myself and Mayor Pro Tem Ness with our attorney as well, to put the contract together. Basically, the pieces that were in here were very similar to the contract before. A major difference was the car allowance, rather than being a car allowance, was turned into part of the salary. It's kind of a remnant of compensation packages of past. You find it sometimes in some and sometimes not in others. So we just decided to turn it into the salary and have it go forth from there as part of future compensation considerations. The increases match what the ACT rate is at this time. This is also based on conversations with Benjamin, both things he has said in public and as part of the negotiation of wanting our, we've recently adjusted to the city manager's position is paid more in line with what other city manager positions are paid in comparable cities. This is something that Mr. Marentet intends to do for department heads as well down, not just for himself, which I think has been missing part of the conversation in the past. This would then also allow for, upon reviews by the city commission, future increases at the similar rate that is where the ACT has been falling at this point. And we did, and this was actually requested by our side, if you will, of Mayor Pro Tem Ness and myself, of building in periodic reviews of the compensation for the city manager. We'd like to eventually get there with the city attorney as well. What has happened in the past is our salaries for our employees have tended to be stagnant with cost of living adjustments and then the occasional having to right size, and that leaves us with a giant bill every few years to 10 years rather than keeping up with the cost and the value of our employees, which again is something that is being committed to top down. So those are probably the major points that I just wanted to say, as everybody has seen, and there's been some conversation about it. So that's where we're at the top. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Laura, as part of the conversation?
Thank you, Mayor Shamro. Tonight we have the opportunity to officially, permanently appoint a steady, talented, and familiar leader. The contract in front of you, it's well-balanced, it's responsible, and it was intentionally designed to set Benjamin up for success. As Amy alluded to, it aligns performance expectations with our strategic plan. That's very important. It provides clear feedback through annual evaluations and the opportunity for more frequent check-ins. It reflects a streamlined, market-based compensation structure with planned regular cost of living adjustments consistent with other ACT employees and staff. I am super confident that this agreement serves the best interests of our city, our employees, and our residents, and that appointing Benjamin Marentet as our city manager marks a positive and exciting chapter in Traverse City.
And the other thing I'll add before allowing Mr. Marentet to speak here is, as was alluded to, everything is dependent on reviews, performance reviews, and as we are moving through with our new system of looking at OKRs and other processes, the commission itself will work to decide what those benchmarks are as we have these conversations. The policies that have been brought forward in the past are looking to create a regular pattern of check-ins with annual reviews as the end result, not the only result for feedback. And that is part of this whole change in process and cultural change we've alluded to several times here. So I'm going to allow Benjamin to speak for a few minutes, and then we'll open it for the commission as well.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the comments and the faith. I just have a few minutes to share some thoughts. I started with this organization just a month after I turned 19, and Commissioner Shaw referenced that a couple of weeks ago, and I started as a customer service representative in the city treasurer's office, an entry-level position within our organization. At that time, I had no intention of having a career in public service. I had aspirations of leading a large private organization one day, but within a year of working here, I felt the joy of public service and the magic of it in my heart. And I just want to thank this organization and community that supported me along the way, and this commission and organization for investing in me for major parts of my education and professional development, including a bachelor's degree, master's degree, a 6-year public leadership program at Harvard's Kennedy School, and a whole lot of mentors along the way, and still to this day. This is the 5th position that I have held within our city's government, and I intend it to be my last, and I am grateful for the love and support that this community has shown me. I promise you that I will work to stay fresh, to continuously look for possibilities, and to cultivate a mindset of possibilities throughout our organization, and I will also support our employees' professional development and their growth. I will look around corners, and I expect our employees to do the same and to routinely demonstrate that. I commit to the City Commission to serve each of you faithfully. I work for the City Commission and by extension this community, and I take that seriously and with great inspiration. And I wanted to share just a few specific things regarding this evening's agenda item, which includes approval, hopefully, of my employment agreement. I do appreciate the conversation and discussion with Mayor Shamro and Mayor Pro Tem Ness to develop these mutually agreed upon terms. With me as your city manager, as the mayor alluded to in the past, and this is often the case with top employee positions, is that once the initial salary is set, there are simply cost of living adjustments, which can lead to employees leaving their roles potentially prematurely. And so I appreciate in this case, beginning in 2028 and every 2 years thereafter, that there is a provision in this agreement for a market study to be completed, and the mayor mentioned this, to ensure that that compensation is set competitively should the City Commission want to continue retaining or encouraging the retention of my services as your city manager. And then I want to share, too, that a few months ago, the City Commission unanimously adopted an ethics ordinance which prescribes conduct by city officials and all official representatives of the city, which aims to impart faith and credibility. Our city charter also now requires that we have an ethics ordinance. And while my employment agreement requires that I abide by, uphold, and enforce the city's ordinances and our city charter, as well as applicable Michigan law, and requires me to uphold the Constitution as well, I do propose this evening an amendment to my employment agreement that specifically calls out a requirement that I adhere to and abide by the city's ethics ordinance. And it's imperative that the city manager follow the ethics ordinance in order to impart that confidence in how our city government is run. And I thank Commissioner Anderson, who chaired the commission ad hoc committee that developed that ethics ordinance, for making that suggestion. I wholeheartedly embrace it. I also appreciate and value, as referenced by Mayor Pro Tem Ness, that my compensation and evaluations will be tied to the implementation of the city's first ever strategic action plan and the objectives and key results that will soon be adopted based upon that strategic action plan. That will underscore and drive this organization's commitment to our strategic action plan, and I intend on driving that throughout the entire organization through our department head leadership team. And finally, I am moved by the City Commission's faith in me and your support. And humbly speaking, I've received what feels like a lot of support from various parts of this community, and that means a ton to me. And while there will be times, multiple times, where folks won't agree with me, I will work to approach my work in such a way that has you believing in my heart and my mind, because it will be committed to this work. So lastly, so many people have been part of my journey to get to this point. Many have reached out, including my preschool teacher, my 3rd grade teacher, 6th grade teacher, many high school teachers, and some college professors. And I want to thank my loving, supportive cheerleader of a husband, Matt, for all of his support. And lastly, I want to thank the incredibly talented employee team for their support, partnership, and faith. And I'm looking forward to this official new chapter for Traverse City, and for many years, hopefully, to working with everyone to nurture our incredible city. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Benjamin. And so what I would put out to the commission right now is we will definitely have a moment so everybody can share their thoughts, but does somebody want to be the one to make the motion to officially move this forward? And then we can have discussion as well. Go ahead, Laura.
I move that Benjamin Marentet be appointed city manager for the city of Traverse City effective December 16th, 2025, pursuant to Section 35 of the city charter, and that the mayor and interim city clerk execute an employment agreement for city manager with Benjamin Marentet, which specifies the terms and conditions of employment of Mr. Marentet as city manager, which agreement is included with the official meeting materials for the December 15th, 2025 meeting of the City Commission, with the agreement subject to approval as to its form by the city attorney.
And should we add and reflecting the amended,
And reflecting
how would we
the,
word that, amended terms
The
presented during the meeting?
The reference to the ethics ordinance.
Okay, there we go.
and reflecting the amended reference to the ethics ordinance.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Bomer. Ness. And Bomer. And any other comments from any commissioners on this? Go ahead, please,
I have a
Heather.
question.
Sure.
So, can you explain the $6,000 car allowance getting rolled into the salary and how that works? Because you're going from 187 to 202, but that doesn't, 187 plus 6 doesn't equal 202. Is it an annual allowance? How does that work?
Well, it's an annual allowance plus it's the 5% adjustment that ACT got that gets to that number. So that's where we rolled it in, but if you want to explain more, we're.
No, that's okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
Okay.
Just that it's not
sorry.
being, it's
confusing
not being,
wording.
it was,
Yeah, it
I
was.
agree. It's not being treated as a car allowance. We've rolled that $6,000 now into
Yeah.
the salary, and we're getting rid of the
The car
car
allowance.
allowance from these contracts.
Okay.
It's kind of archaic.
It just didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
way it was.
the ACT plus in there made it kind of confusing.
Okay, I have just one other question. The job description, is that a boilerplate job description? Like, did Elizabeth Vogel get that same job description?
The job descriptions live with the Human Resources Director, and they are routinely updated. They're living documents, so it is updated since the last city manager.
But it was more or less the same?
It was more or less the same.
Well, I found that job description to be very interesting. And, if it contained more or less the same verbiage as Liz Vogel had, wow.
Mm-hmm. Fair point. Fair point.
I'm going to keep that in my little pocket.
Fair, very fair.
Well, that could be something we request too, and a good point of updating, as well as updating comparisons, updating job description as those are shifting as well, because that is something that's good for all of us to know. It's a very fair point, Commissioner Shaw, for us to keep front of mind. Other questions or, yeah, go ahead.
Just a
Jackie.
comment to
Mhm.
say how optimistic and grateful I am and looking ahead to the future of the city under Mr. Marentet's leadership. I see great things ahead and a coming together of the community and its government, and that couldn't make me happier. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Other comments from anyone? I think Jackie summarized it very, very well. All right, well, with that, I'll open this up for any public comment. Do we have any public comment on this item? We'll take that as a no news is good news and bring it back to the commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, and we will be swearing Benjamin in officially after the meeting, right after. That's where the table and everything is out. If anybody wants to stay and witness that, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you very, very, very
Yes,
much.
And I was just going to say, we are very excited for this to become official, and as Jackie indicated, move forward. We've got, go ahead, Heather.
And Sarah? What
Uh,
happens to
Heather?
Sarah?
I believe we will be addressing the official city clerk position at our January 5th meeting. Yes, very good
That's a
question.
teaser.
Very good question.
You kind of know what that means, don't you?
But as you see up here, I'm very excited about the, as Jackie said, the positive movements going forward, the strategic plan we have behind us, and where we're going. So this is very exciting to start this official active business for tonight off with that vote. So thank you all. Next, we now have approval of the Complete Streets Policy, another great piece in the making, and Commissioner Shaw is here with that, but I'll let Benjamin kick it off. But we've got the expert here too.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Shaw served on the Complete Streets Ad Hoc
Yes.
Committee, and the City Commission discussed this policy back in October. The last City Commission did, and then it was most recently discussed at your December 8th study session, which was just last week. There is an updated flow chart based on the discussion, as well as some edits to the policy that the changes are tracked. I just want to say again that I'm looking forward to implementing this policy. It does support a new approach to street design aimed at equity for users, and it also supports something that I've been talking a lot about, which is driving a feedback culture where we incorporate valuable voices, perspectives, and expertise to the table. The Complete Streets Ad Hoc Committee will do that, complementing our city employee team. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you've got. But the changes, again, that are proposed are in the policy and marked as such, as well as the flow chart.
And I'll turn it over to Commissioner Shaw. I know some of these changes were even things you noticed that you had wanted to see, so just to get your feedback and thought.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you, Benjamin. You stated it perfectly. Equity and the feedback from the community and just general transparency and new ideas. All the changes that we asked for were made. They look really good. I just have one question that came up. Where does the traffic committee weigh in on all of this? Doesn't the traffic committee, wouldn't they want to weigh in on? Would it be at the very beginning?
Maybe I'll call on Deputy City, I will call on Deputy City Manager Deb
actually
Allen, who chairs
expert
that
here.
traffic committee, and she's the expert on the traffic committee's scope. So, Ms. Allen.
Good evening again, Deputy City Manager Deb Allen. So in regards to Complete Streets, I mean, if you saw the diagram, right now the process with Traffic Committee specifically is that is a process that was established for community members to submit questions or concerns. So that process will still continue from the standpoint that, because that addresses those resident concerns. We meet collectively, engineering, police department, fire department, planning department, asset management, streets division. I'm trying to think. Sean, anybody else that I missed? But I think that for the most part, they meet, they vet these questions. And if it is something that maybe elevates beyond what that group can address, sometimes it's ordinances that we don't have the ability to significantly address that might be something that we would want to bring to the Streets Committee, Complete Streets, to be able to give guidance, give some insight, or for us to be able to share concerns that we hear addressed that maybe could, again, elevate to a discussion point. So I think that it's not circumventing it. It actually is another opportunity to gain insight and to gain information and share information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, Deb.
Oh, really quick, I think we've got it. Wait, do you have
Nope,
another,
nope.
do you have a question, Lance?
I'd like to make a motion.
Oh, okay, wait. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I move that the City of Traverse City policy on complete streets be adopted.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners Bomer and Shaw. Do we have other questions or comments from the commission at this time? Go ahead, Lance.
I know we've got a bunch of people in the audience here who have worked on this, not only city staff, but just members of our general public, neighbors. So I just wanted to express my sincere thanks to a couple organizations, the Grand Traverse Safe Streets Alliance, Tart Trails, TC Track Club, Disability Networks, Cherry Capital Cycling Club, and Beta, as well as I'm sure there's a list of others I have not listed out, but any community members, the entire city staff who spent a ton of time in these ad hoc meetings over the past almost 2 years, and my fellow city commissioners who helped work on this. That work has gone into developing all of the policy that we have before us today, and it really reflects a commitment to a safer, more accessible, more equitable way of thinking in developing our streets going forward. And really thinking about how we develop our streets for all users, whether they're pedestrians, cyclists, or drivers, I think is exactly the kind of forward-thinking leadership that our city needs and deserves. I strongly support, obviously, final adoption of this policy and believe it will make Traverse City a more inclusive, livable, and sustainable community for generations to come.
Thank you. Other comments from commissioners? I would join in saying, welcome, complete list of thank yous. That was wonderful. I'll call out by name Tim Warner and Mark Wilson, who also worked on the ad hoc, who are no longer on the commission, but certainly put in a lot of time and effort with everyone else as well. So,
I would echo that.
yeah. Other questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, I will open this up then for any public comment on this item. People would like to make public comment, please approach the podium.
I'm going to read the rules real quick.
Please.
We
And
ask that
everyone
you-
can approach and line up too. if
We
there's a
ask
few
that you
people.
state your name and address, indicate if you're a city resident, non-city resident, and/or city business owner. We have a 3-minute time allotment per speaker. When your time has elapsed, the timer will beep. And finally, we request that all language be respectful to all parties.
Thank you. My name is Noah Roth. I'm at 309 West Front Street, and I was part of the citizen input for this complete streets policy, and just wanted to thank everyone for getting it to where it is to where it is now. But I also wanted to just share why it matters to me personally. So I was born and raised in northern Michigan, and I moved away for several years. But a few years ago, it was right after the 8th Street reconstruction. I came back to visit some family, and I noticed what a transformation that street really went through. Just from what it was to what it is now, it truly is a complete street, and it kind of shifts that narrative to making a space that works for everyone, like this policy is targeting. And that ended up being a really big reason just to see that this community focuses and really prioritizes like looking forward in that way. And it ended up being a huge reason why I moved back here to Traverse City specifically. And so, I think for a lot of young people, research has shown that having safe and accessible transportation options for people is a huge reason as to why they actually live somewhere. So, I think this is more than just a street policy, but I think it's really what will come from this, I think, is going to be a really good investment in our future in attracting and retaining young people to live here. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you. Other public comment?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dana Flukeft. I live at 415 Webster Street. I'm here on personal behalf and on behalf of Tar Trails, a member organization of the Grand Traverse Safe Streets Alliance. And I am so pleased to hear the support and so honored to see the investment that so many of the commissioners and former commissioners have put into this, and truly the work of the city staff into this document and the future work that will take place because of the Complete Streets policy. So I look forward to this establishment of not only the policy but also of the advisory committee, and I'm so glad to see this feedback culture take place, and I completely echo what Noah's saying. It's a major reason why I'm here, and I know that other young people are pursuing places that are inspiring and easy to move about and safe for our most vulnerable users. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Elizabeth Dell, 117 East 10th Street, and I am here on behalf of the Grand Traverse Area Chapter of Citizens Climate Lobby. We are a national organization that works on building the political will for effective policy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, climate pollution. So as a representative of the chapter, we're part of the Grand Traverse Safe Streets Alliance, and we fully support this Complete Streets policy, and thank you very much for it, in particular because of the mindfulness towards how it can mitigate climate pollution. But as a citizen of this community, I just love the whole policy, so thanks very much for what you're doing and for what the city is doing in general to address mitigating climate change. It's very important to all of us, so thank you.
Thank you.
Rick Venner, resident of Traverse City and one of the founders of the Grand Traverse Safe Streets Alliance. I'm so happy to see the positive feedback from so many people here. I'd also like to introduce some other folks that have been here on behalf of the support of this initiative, and that is Jason from the Track Club, Alana from Northern Michigan Disability Network. You've met Noah, Dana. Am I missing somebody? We have Climate Lobby here. I've got to thank Tim Werner and Mark Wilson and Heather Shaw for their efforts for this ad hoc committee. We were part of that, but they were good listeners and had a lot to put into it. And Lance, which fortunately became a commissioner, was very much involved in bringing the ad hoc committee along. So I just, in full support of this, obviously, and really hope it goes through. And I'm very excited about what's to come as well. We've got a lot of exciting things coming along in Traverse City. 2026 is a great year to look forward to. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Any final thoughts? Seeing none, I'll call the vote then. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And I'm going to do against the rules of myself and give a little round of applause here. Very excited. That was a lot of hard work, I know, and a lot of meetings. So thank you for all that diligent effort. And we now have a really great policy to go with it. So very exciting. All right, next is our consideration of enacting amendments to the Traverse Code of Ordinances. Mayor Pro Tem Ness has excused herself from this discussion in the past and will do so again right now. It's been explained unless you want to
Nope,
again.
I'm
Okay,
good. Thank
great.
you.
And so give me one moment to catch my agenda up here. It's loading very slowly. Okay, and so because we have discussed this in the past, this is one kind of complete motion. Do you want to do we need any comment from Lauren at the top, I think, or does the commission need it, or does anybody have any questions at this point? Go ahead, Heather.
I thought that the motion was split out. And I'm not seeing that.
It's split out on the agenda, but in it, we put it together as one motion. We can split it out or have it together, whichever you'd prefer.
Well,
it should be split out, shouldn't it?
It has to be split.
Does it have to be split out?
It depends on whether Commissioner Ness or Mayor Pro Tem Ness is going to recuse herself from all of the 3 votes or not. It was split out last time for that purpose.
But she did
Okay.
recuse
Wouldn't really be a
herself from
reason for
NMC
recusal.
last time.
Exactly.
Right,
that's
so,
what I mean.
okay, you're right, very good point. So we'll go ahead and does that wording fit that's on the motion? Do we need to?
I'm sorry, and I know that I was even asked if this was going to be split out. I apologize.
Yes.
That was our intention. Sarah, do you want to walk them through the different
Well,
motions?
I was going
or-
to say, what's listed on the agenda, does that work as a motion, or do we need specific motion
Well, we
wording?
have to do the public hearing. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Sorry.
Already did that.
Did that last time.
Did that last time.
what I can do is, Sarah, if you want, you can read the individual motions. That'd be
Yep.
great.
So
can
let's
do that.
do it with the H1, H2 hospital districts first, please.
Okay. So the motion would be that amendments to the Traverse City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1358H, hospital districts, to remove the density limits which would align with all other non-R residential zoning districts as recommended by the City Planning Commission be enacted with an effective date 8 days after publication.
Does somebody want to make that motion?
So
like
moved
that.
as read? Oh,
Sorry?
so moved as read?
Okay.
I support that.
Okay, we'll give it to Vance and then Mitch. Do we have discussion or questions on that item? Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, go ahead,
Just,
Jackie.
just a comment that at last week's study session, I had expressed some reservations not having received confirmation from a organization in town that owns most of one of the hospital districts, and I didn't receive any further input on that issue. So I will actually be voting against this one.
Okay. Commissioner Shaw, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the comments that I made the last time, that there is no guarantee that this is going to provide any real housing, particularly as density increases lead directly to an increase in land values, particularly in the H and the HR districts, that the things that businesses want, the more housing and more childcare, depend more on their investment than on zoning. That this zoning does not change the size of the box, it just allows more boxes within the box, which means more cars. However, all these districts are close to public transportation, close to the city center, and so if we're serious, I'm reading the same thing as I read the last time, if we're serious about increasing population without flooding the city with cars, please continue to pour your support into making our streets accessible and safe for all mobilities in all seasons.
Absolutely. Very good sentiment. Any other questions or comments right now? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Shaw,
Yes.
Treadwell,
Yes.
Funk,
Yes.
Bomer,
Yes.
Anderson,
No.
Mayor.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you. Now we can bring Mayor Pro Tem Ness back in. And I think, could we then
I
read?
can read the next one. I'm ready.
Can we
Okay.
bundle
Could
the two?
combine the last
We-
two.
I was going to say, can we
combine
read
the
the
last
motion that's in the packet now and just leave out the H part?
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody wants to, go ahead, Mitch, or, oh, maybe not. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I
Lance?
can do it.
Okay.
I move that the amendments to the Traverse City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1356 NMC University, and Chapter 1338 HR Hotel Resort Districts to remove the density limits which would align with all other non-R residential zoning districts as recommended by the City Planning Commission, be enacted with an effective date 8 days after publication.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners Bomer and Treadwell. Faster than I can write, so thank you. All right, do we have further discussion or questions about this item? I know that your points Commissioner Shaw made were well made and apply here as well, which is a very good reminder.
Yes, I would reflect those points.
Yes. Any other comments at this time? Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Thank you all for that. We have moved through 3 changes there, and now we are moving on to our, well, our governmental center project management for future looking, we'll say, and I'll hand it over to Benjamin for more explanation and comment.
Thank you. Of course, the City Commission and the community is aware that we're looking at options regarding the future of the services that are housed in the governmental center as well as this building and those at the law enforcement center. The city and the county have a joint operating agreement. This governmental center is a jointly held asset where the city owns a minority interest. And the county, Grand Traverse County board at their December 3rd meeting moved forward with engaging Plant Moran, for doing that work. It was a substantially higher price, and so I worked with our county administrator to have an equitable amount that the city would pay, which is far less than our percentage share in the Plant Moran agreement, but equals $24,000, which is what we would pay to the second lowest bidder, who the city would have ended up engaging. And so to me, that felt very equitable. The county administrator agreed with that. I want to thank Deputy City Manager Deb Allen for her work. She's going to serve essentially as project manager for this very intensive work as we look at this, along with our facilities manager who reports to Deb. And so this is technically within my spending authority, but because of the significance, I just wanted to bring it to the City Commission, and this is going to be a long road, and we want to be very careful about what we're looking at. And so I recommend that you authorize an intergovernmental agreement between the city and the county that specifies the city's cost share, which is $24,000 of that $160,000 total price tag.
I see Deb Allen moving towards the podium. I don't hand it off, but first I wanted to say thank you on behalf of all of us, I think, that for negotiating such a fair and equitable agreement. We'll let Deb speak a little bit more to that.
Good evening again. Deb Allen, Deputy City Manager. I think that this was an excellent process. I again commend Benjamin for great negotiating skills on this and having that conversation, because if we had to make a decision to go with a different firm, it would have been that similar amount of dollars that we would have spent. So this was just really made a lot of sense. I just want to clarify, it is Plant Moran Real Point, which is their real estate division. I think they bring a very unique perspective to this project. The city did find itself in kind of a unique situation from the standpoint that the commission did decide, the county commission did decide to go forward with Plant Moran Real Point. So we did a lot of sincere thought, but I will tell you that both of the 2 finalists were very, very close in their scope, but where Plant Moran, again, Real Point came in higher is because they have the ability to look at this campus, look at its value, give us some perspective, not only on this campus, but then also on the Shared Legal Center, and just really look at what is our current possibility as well as other options and future considerations. We do actually have Andy Fountain, who is the principal with Plant Moran Real Point, if there are significant questions that the commission would like to ask or address.
Do commissioners have questions at this time? Looks like we're trusting you, Deb, and staff on the process here, and we know you'll give us updates as there's any significant movement or as other issues arise, as we have been seeing over the last few months since this conversation started. So
thank you.
Thank you for that. With that, do we have questions that just popped up or a motion? Go ahead, Heather.
I move that the mayor and interim city clerk be authorized to execute an intergovernmental agreement with Grand Traverse County in an amount not to exceed $24,000 for the city's cost share of the project management agreement with Plant Moran Real Point. Such contract subject to its substance by the interim city manager and its form by the city attorney with funds available in the general fund.
Support.
And I have
Thank
a
you.
comment.
Sure.
I appreciate that we are coordinating with and supporting the county commission on this. I watched that meeting. There was a great deal of discussion about who to go with, and I thought that they made the right choice. And thank you very much, Benjamin. Nice negotiating there. That was a good job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well summarized. Yes, yes, Jackie, go ahead, sorry.
And just to say thank you for taking a significant step forward in regional collaboration. That's an important part of our strategic plan, and it's nice to see it put into action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, I'll open any public comment on this item. Seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Looking forward to seeing what that next chapter brings. So now, no new business, so we are on to appointments, and this is a resignation from the Arts Commission and recommendations from the ad hoc. So I believe, Heather, were you the chair of this?
I was.
All right.
And yeah, we were sorry to lose Brian Rates. He was a great choice, but then he had to move out of town.
Oh.
But we've got we had very interesting candidates. Oh, my goodness. So we chose Natalia Stojavanek and Jack Lanford, and hopefully they will be at our meeting at the end of December. But in the meantime, I move that the resignation of Brian Rates from the TC Arts Commission be accepted, and that Natalia Stojavanek and Jack Langford be appointed to the terms expiring May 18th, 2027, previously held by Jeff Jubran and Brian Rates on the Arts Commission as recommended by the ad hoc committee consisting of Heather Shaw, Commissioner Funk, and Commissioner Anderson.
Support.
All right. Didn't even have to cross that out from last time. Okay, any further discussion on this item? Brian, why did I say that? Lance, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were raising your hand.
No, sorry.
Okay. Ken?
I will just say that we had 5 candidates, and they were all really amazing, and they brought some unique perspectives, every single one of them, but we settled on 2 really good choices. So the love and enthusiasm they have for the arts community in Traverse City was pretty impressive, so we're excited looking forward.
Great. That's always great to hear when we hear from about our applicants. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And thankfully, our next item is the Complete Streets Advisory Committee Establishment Ad Hoc. And we passed that, so we can go ahead and do this. So this one, because it was new, we didn't do it at our organizational meeting. And this is we've got the very formal, not fishbowl this time, being tossed on
I forgot
Sarah's
the fishbowl
keyboard. It's
downstairs.
okay. Being tossed on Sarah's keyboard. Go ahead.
Can we, is there a specific order to this? Can we ask that the city commissioner representative be appointed first? That would be helpful.
That would be very helpful, because then that person could be one
That's
member
exactly
of the ad
right.
hoc.
Okay.
Good
That is
thinking.
very,
Let's
very
not
excellent
have to
point.
draw Lance Bomer from
Support.
that position.
Oh, wow. Okay, Heather. Thank you. Commissioner Bomer, or Commissioner Shaw nominates Commissioner Bomer, and Treadwell seconds. So that was to be appointed as a city commission representative on the Complete Streets Advisory Committee, term expiring November 8th, 2027, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Thank you. Any further comment on that? We'll break the motions up. Seeing none, any public comment on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, now Sarah will draw, including Commissioner Bomer now as one of the members.
No, I took him out.
Oh.
Well, you're one of the members.
Treadwell and Ness.
Then who was
Okay.
alternate?
Oh. Alternate is Shaw.
Nope, didn't quite escape there. Okay, so, well, can I get the motion that the City Commission Ad hoc Interview Committee be established to make a recommendation regarding 5 appointments to the Complete Streets Advisory Committee, 2 3-year appointments and 2 2-year appointments, and 1 1-year appointment, that Commissioner Treadwell, Mayor Pro Tem Ness, and Commissioner Bomer, selected randomly, be established, or not randomly too, be established, and make recommendations regarding these appointments, with Commissioner Bomer to serve as chair. Who would like to make that motion?
That sounds like a great motion that I just made.
Great
Second.
job, Treadwell.
With
Thank
Commissioner Shaw as the alternate.
With Commissioner Shaw as the alternate, sorry.
Yes.
That was not in.
I know. I'm adding it.
Perfect, nope, I know. And well done. Okay, any other comments on this? Go ahead, Jackie.
Just a request for my colleagues on the commission, whether you have any thoughts or guidance to the ad hoc in terms of what kind of credentials and perspectives that you might like to see represented on this advisory board. As I was reading through the Complete Streets policy, I thought the devil is in the details. And is there a vision for how you'd like to have this advisory board balanced in perspectives? So I throw that out as a question.
Okay. So when we were developing, when I was just a non-commissioner, and when Commissioner Shaw, Warner, and Wilson were developing the policy, they specifically left it somewhat vague as to just 5 residents in the city of Traverse City. We wanted it that way because we really value, the policy really is valued as a feedback loop of our neighborhoods and our community members. And so if you have no experience in Complete Streets but have an opinion, we would encourage you to apply. If you have experience in design work or engineering, I know there's a number of residents in our city who have vast experience in those areas. You know, we want you to apply. If you're an expert in this field and can help advise to do what the purpose of the committee is, which is to determine specific measurable goals, advise the city manager regarding prioritization of Complete Streets projects and proposed use of the 1% Complete Streets fund, and then review Complete Streets plans for compliance and the Complete Streets policy, as well as somebody who can create consensus around creating a rubric to measure and prioritize project selection so our departments know what they're doing. That's who we want to apply for this. It's 5 spots. I hope we have a long meeting of interviews, or maybe 2 meetings.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that you've just hit the nail on the head, Lance, with, it kind of reminds me of when we established the Hickory Hills Advisory, where we wanted the nice combination of user groups, but also citizens, as it is the Citizen Ski Hill. And I appreciate that call for citizens who are just engaged and care about their streets, as well as any experts that might be willing to serve in our region. So that's a nice broad base, so appreciate that clarification. Laura?
And I think, echoing on Amy's comments, I do see this as being very analogous to the Hickory Hills Advisory Committee, in that there's tremendous enthusiasm and passion in our community for this topic. And at first, there were concerns about the Hickory Hills Advisory Committee not having like a specific job description or specific skills and talents that they were looking for. I'd say trust the process. Because the ad hoc that selected that advisory committee, and there were 4 rounds of interviews. I think there were close to 20 applications for, I can't remember, 11 spots, 10 spots. And the committee that was placed is tremendous, and it covers the entire gambit of interests and skills for that committee. So trust the process, it'll work.
Okay, and Mitch had his hand up, and then Heather.
And
yeah.
speaking as somebody that served on that ad hoc and sat through all those 4 rounds of interviews, yes, we want to have people from a diversity of backgrounds, experiences, and perspectives, but that doesn't mean that each person is being slotted into a specific role. Yes, we have people from various user groups for Hickory Hills, but there are people that mountain bike and cross-country ski. There are people that walk their dog and play disc golf. There are overlaps both in people and organizations, and it's important that those are reflected among the board. Also, people change, both as professionally, they may have been affiliated with one organization and then they move on in their life but still are a part of this community. And also, people to the point of somebody that knows very little about a complete streets process or what our ordinance entails, that still are passionate about how our community looks, how we build for the future, how we accommodate a range of transportation types, and are learning through that process. And I think that this framework will allow both that diversity to be appointed and for it to be people that will evolve and continue to reflect the city that we are and what we can be.
Thank you, Mitch. And Heather.
I was just going to follow up on Laura's comments about the Hickory Hills Advisory Committee. I was really worried that the mountain bikers were going to take it over because they are always the loudest people in the room, but they didn't. It actually. And I would, you know, we have users that are not just bikers of our streets. We have seniors and we have children and we have the disabled. So I am trusting the process. They will all be have a place on that committee.
Wonderful, thank you. Good points all around. So we got some good feedback there. Do we have any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back. All in
Amy,
favor? Oh,
Who seconded that motion? You guys were moving too fast for me.
I had down Treadwell, but I might be wrong about that.
Okay, I'm fine.
Sorry, does that seem right to everybody? Sometimes I can't read my own writing at this point.
Pretty sure I heard him say that.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, everybody, we've got a lot of good things started tonight. Do we have any reports from everybody's committees? All right, seeing none, it's end of the year, so we're a little more relaxed. Hold on, my thing just went away with this vote. So, moving on now, then we will go to.
Mayor?
Oh, yep.
Did anybody go to the homeless task force report on the 11th?
I attended that.
Got staff.
Is there anything that can be shared with that, or?
I can say that, and let me just refer to my notes
I think
from
that
my tidbits.
I think there was mention that there's going to be some public presentations
Yes.
in regard to recommendations from all the task force work.
That is correct. I'm just looking up the dates, just so it's in January. So the Housing and Homelessness Task Force met last Thursday. I serve on that task force and on its leadership team. And I guess I didn't put that in there. It's in my notes here. The task force is going to be having a public open house with some recommendations on January 21st. There's 2 different sessions in the afternoon. I have the times written down, but I don't know if they're accurate, so I don't want to say them.
Gotcha.
But it will be on January 21st, and then likely some official recommendations to the entities, including the city, in February.
Awesome,
And
thank you.
we can definitely promote those once the times are solidified when we
Yes.
get back from our break here.
Yes.
So thank you, great question, Commissioner Funk. Any other questions or reports from anybody? Okay, seeing none, we are now moving into public comment. Because we do have a reserved public comment, I did want to clarify something here. Public comment and reserved public comment are on our agenda. They are not vetted by staff. They are not subject to action tonight, and we do not engage in question and answer during public comment. So that will apply to a reserved public comment as well. So a reminder to anybody, you can always set aside and ask for reserved public comment and be allowed to have a presentation. I think this is the first time we've done this with this commission. So I just wanted to establish that up front. This isn't like a staff vetted agenda item that would come to us with motions and such attached. This is a presentation from the public. So with that, we will now open with North Shore Development has a reserved public comment up to 15 minutes. And I think, do you have anything else you have to say for that, Sarah? Or is it the same general rules, right? But the
Same
15
general
minutes.
rules, timer set to 15.
There we go. And with that,
Go.
15 minutes, go.
Hi, my name is John Sachs. Thank you to the commission for allowing me to come speak tonight. Thank you for those of you who have spoken to me individually to talk about this possible proposal. I am representing Shore North today, and I'm bringing to you a presentation for a public-private partnership proposal for a parking deck on Pine and State Street. It's not only parking, but it's also a workforce housing project. We feel it'll be a true public-private partnership. We propose to deliver the city's master plan mixed-use parking deck vision at no cost to the city. This is something that the city brought up. They designed, they had in the plan for a couple of years. We would be able to do it with no risk, no cost, no burden to the city. We would privately design, finance, build, and operate the structure and allow for public use. The partnership. We would build a 534 parking space, parking deck, workforce housing, multifamily residential, as close to 80% AMI as we can possibly get. We'd have first floor retail with public restrooms. The way the city helps achieve this by, it would convey the land to us for $1. It would provide workforce housing pilot or tax abatement. They would allow use of the DDA-held ECO grant for the environmental cleanup and demo, or what's left of it, I guess, after they take down the laundromat. Breakdown. See the location of the project in relative to the other parking decks. The Old Town Garage, the south side of town there, and it was just announced a couple of weeks ago that Haggerty's now bringing back their employees into town, which is going to be great for that part of the town and for that parking deck. The Hardy Garage on the east side of town is located, in the heart of town, and it's a great location and it's needed. But on the west side, there is nothing over there. There's many projects coming online, and it is a great need at this point. The elements. Parking, of course, number one, it would have 534 spaces. The first 2 floors we would make available for the public, which is approximately 165 spaces within the deck itself. The upper floors we would lease to local businesses to finance the deck and ensure stability for long-term success. We have multiple businesses around there, and I'll show you here soon. Number 2 is the workforce housing. In this, we have the AB building, which shows us as building 1, and the linear building on State Street. It goes almost from Pine all the way to Union Street. 5-story buildings on both of them, and they would be used to buffer the parking structure from view of the street level. Ground floor use. We would, of course, have retail space within the ground floor. We would also like to create some sort of partnership with the city to have public restrooms on the southeast corner, which would be approximately kitty corner to the Rotary Park. This would activate the street edge and connects the east to the west side of town, and you create foot traffic and the flow of the workability. And it would, sorry, I got messed up there. It would connect east and the west side of town. It improves walkability and invites year-round foot traffic. And if you could visualize it, especially on days like today, the snow melt would be from almost Union Street all the way down State, up Pine, and halfway back to Union on front. So it would start utilizing the vision of the city, what they want to do with it, the snow melt ultimately throughout the city. Benefits to the city. There's the essential downtown workers. Eases daily commutes for better work-life balance. Positions employees steps from their jobs. Increases the off-season residency and consumer activity. Helps businesses attract and retain talent amid the shortages. local economy. We support business beyond the tourist season, prioritizes residents over seasonal demand, and strengthens year-round economic stability. And all three of those points mean one thing for these buildings of the workforce housing, no STRs within those buildings. Current tax revenue of 0. Projected taxable, it says taxable value, it's actually capital invested of $48 to $60 million within this project. Projected annual city revenues, $380,000 to $600,000 a year. That's including the pilot or the tax abatement. Mitigating risk. The city gains without any risk. Shore North assumes all responsibility for architecture, engineering, design, construction, financial obligation, management and operation and oversight of the actual parking deck itself. Public benefits from private delivery of its project. So this is the current West End needs from different businesses throughout. These are the larger ones, but there's many, many more. You start adding up the numbers, the demand is actually beyond what the parking deck is, but you know, it's just a huge need. The West Side needs parking. Businesses are taking it upon themselves to build their own private decks right now. There are 2 planned, which shows on this map. We are one of them, actually. We have control of the GFA building right next to the loop, and we're designing a parking deck as we speak. The JS development team's here today. They have one that they are designing off Garland Street. Both of these decks have been committed to pivot if we were to create the big deck that would be off State Street and Pine. That way, you don't have these fractured individual parking decks starting to spec up around town. You have it where it should be, where it was designed for, or it was planned for originally. We can revive the city's original plan and pivot away from these other decks and collaborate, build this one where, again, urban planning, it just makes sense. The west side of the city needs parking, and we feel we have a solution. We feel that we have this moment in time, we have this window of opportunity that we can collaborate together to create this solution for workforce housing and parking on the west side of town as needed. And from our side, if the GFA building was not going to be a parking deck, we'd commit that to a residential development also, which just fulfills the need even greater for that side of town. Final summary. Critical parking infrastructure, including 534 parking spaces, workforce housing units, new space for local businesses, public restrooms, significant tax value with no debt, year-round economic strengthening, and support for your local workers. We are requesting approval. I know you can't have any action on it tonight, but we would hope that we can give the availability for the staff to talk to us about negotiating a deal to bring back to you with a contract form here within the next 30 to 60 days. That would be our ultimate goal.
Are you all set with your?
All set.
All right. So because this is a reserved public comment and not an agenda item, we have had a presentation here by a citizen. Any commissioner is welcome to reach out to Benjamin and ask for a formal presentation that might be vetted by staff. And because Benjamin can actually round robin us, please don't reply all when you send it, but multiple commissioners can request, one can, and we'll let them move forward with any kind of request that may come forward from this. But again, this is a public comment, so we will not engage in any kind of direction that we would with a regular agenda item at this time, but please feel free to reach out to Benjamin. We don't engage with public comment right now, so you can email staff about that. So with that now, any other public comment at this time about anything under the sun?
Fred Bimber, 1223 Randolph Street, city resident. I'm going to make just a few brief comments on the presentation we've just seen. If this were a way that the city could accomplish this or something else acceptable to the local businesses and city residents generally at no cost and without risk, I would support it. But there are a number of costs and risks in what's just been indicated. All pilot programs involve costs to city taxpayers. It's not as evident as tax increment financing, but it's significant. we're importing additional demands for city services, but reducing the amount that's paid in property taxes. And the amount that the city and its city taxpayers bear because of tax increment financing and pilot programs is significant. Traverse City is a high property tax jurisdiction. Property tax rates in the city are 10 mills higher than in the surrounding townships. 3 mills of that is due to the TIFs that we've accumulated. Pilot programs operate somewhat differently. They're more under the radar in terms of their costs, but the city's track record in properly administering pilot programs is very poor, and we don't see how much is there. But just to take one example, East Bay Flats is a pilot project. It has imported great demand for city services. There are lots of police calls to that location using the most expensive city service that we offer. And also, this project wants the city to give the property for this development that was acquired by the city at a cost of about $3 million. That's a cost to the city and to city taxpayers. And if that is the first step in this project, there's great risk to the city. Will all the developers' promises be kept? If they're not, what's the recourse? That type of program was the first version of the development of the old state hospital grounds, and the city very nearly lost all that land when it deeded it to the developer and the developer filed bankruptcy. This is fraught with lots of costs and risks. I don't mean to sound just negative. If there would be some way that a development of this type scaled to what is really needed by local businesses.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Is there any other general public comment tonight?
Good evening, Board. Jeff Schmitz, 155 Romeo Road, Rochester, Michigan. I'm the owner of the Syndicate Hotel. I'm speaking on behalf of Mr. Sox. Just to say, talking to the gentleman that was just speaking, it's a 5-year return. You guys have not received any dollars since you've purchased the property. It's really a 5-year return on your money. You can solve that. Mr. Sox is a very well-established business developer in Traverse City. He's got more than enough credentials to do that. If you're concerned about it, we could all put up a completion bond to get the project completed. This is something that was sold to me by the DDA 3 years ago, that this project was going to happen. It hasn't happened. We then purchased a property behind the Syndicate to do our own internal parking. I think it's a misuse of asset. I think that, you know, when you're developing a culture sphere like where we're at now in that warehouse district, it'd be a shame to have parking in that, you know, warehouse district right there when Mr. Sox is proposing 500 and something spaces. I think it's a great asset. I think the city can definitely protect themselves many different ways and facets, especially about making sure that it's completed with all the leases that he's going to have in place or purchase agreements for those spaces. But, you know, the west end of that area needs parking. And when you have a developer that's willing to give you what the city has earlier proposed, but couldn't fund it, and he's willing to fund it, I mean, it's hard to look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, this is really something special. And, you know, I know he's asking for $1, but, you know, your repayment just on the property taxes is within 5 years. It's been sitting for how many years? So if he doesn't do this deal, you guys are probably looking at another 5 years before you get another set of property tax or development that works. And that, you know, that's just human logic and math. And as a developer, you know, when you have somebody that's got those credentials, that's willing to, you know, put his money up and help the city and bring the parking that we need, especially with that whole culture sphere that we're developing down there with the hotel as well as the condos. I mean, what an amazing thing that we have going on, right? So I just think, just for the record, you guys should really look at this as what an amazing asset that you have a guy like him coming in to develop this. That's all.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time?
Hello, my name is Lauren Golba, and I would like to go on record in strong opposition to the parking garage and its current proposal. I work and live in Traverse City and am a local business owner here. I own the building located at 134 West State Street, which is the building at the curve where Pine turns into State Street. So if you look on the proposal and the aerial photo that was in the ticker this morning of this, my building is the one in the southwest corner of that aerial photo that is carved out from the yellow line. I am not altogether opposed to additional parking solutions for downtown. I know that parking is an issue downtown for all of us, but I do not think that this is the solution. I do not think that privatizing public property and public resources is the answer. And I agree with the first gentleman that the assumption, that a private company is going to truly act in the public's best interest above their own in respect to private land is absurd. I know that the value of this land is extremely valuable. I know that just 5 years ago, the dry cleaners next door, which is a small portion of this overall block of land, was purchased by the city for $600,000 alone. So to let that and all the additional land go for $1, I think would be an egregious and criminal mismanagement of taxpayer dollars. I also know that as an adjacent property owner, there are many sensitive environmental factors at play in that part of downtown, and so I'm very concerned about that as well and how that will be treated. In addition, I think that the strain on the city infrastructure is another really important thing that we need to discuss in great detail and really needs to be looked at by the city. I think the whole way that this whole parking deck saga has gone on for years and has been handled has really lacked significantly in community engagement and transparency. And the fact that as a city taxpayer and adjacent property owner, I was alerted to this only this morning because a friend reached out and sent the article to me from the ticker, just proves that point further. As someone who deeply cares about the best interests of Traverse City, its residents, and its business owners, I think that any discussion of a parking deck needs to be done with the utmost care, transparency, and engagement of all the stakeholders in order to have a solution in both the city and the people's best interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment at this time? That's okay. This is general public comment.
Paul Wilkins, 610 North Madison. The city's master plan should align with the strategic plan. The master plan is a tool that implements the vision of the strategic plan. This alignment is recognized as best practice. The alignment ensures city departments are working towards shared goals and long-term vision. As a resident and taxpayer, it's a reasonable expectation that city departments work efficiently, collaboratively, toward common objectives guided by community input, which is a core of the strategic plan. Mayor Shamrow's campaign highlighted the strategic plan as a major accomplishment rooted in community input. At the candidate forums, listening to the community was a consistent theme. Anyone who attended last planning meeting on December 2nd observed a clear disconnect on how at least one city department interprets and applies the strategic plan in relation to the master plan. This disconnect has precedent. At a previous commission meeting, August 23rd, 2024, a highly controversial master plan was placed on the agenda. Controversial for two reasons. First, it was developed before the strategic plan, raising the fundamental chicken-egg concern. Second, it proposed a transitional neighborhood designation for Bay Street. In response, more than 300 Slabtown residents signed a petition in opposition, and 11 residents spoke out against this plan. Despite the opposition, the City Commission did not vote to approve or reject the master plan as listed on the agenda. Instead, in a surprise move, the Commission narrowly passed an unexpected motion, removing its own authority to approve the master plan. This action undermined transparency and public trust. That decision may also have helped explain why the Planning Board leadership recently stated that the strategic plan is yours, not ours. While it's not productive to dwell on the past, it's important to learn from it. I respectfully encourage all of you to review the recordings of both the August 23rd Commission meeting and the December 2nd Planning Board meeting and observe firsthand the inefficiencies and the concerning dynamics that occurred. Call to action. I urge the Commission to reassert your authority to approve or reject the master plan. Please schedule this topic on a future agenda. Doing so is critical to ensure that the plan aligns with the strategic plan for the city and truly reflects the voice, the priorities, and the trust of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other general public comment?
Doug Kimball, 523 North Spruce Street. So I just want to support what Mr. Wilkins just said. And there was a lot mentioned here tonight about the feedback loop, you know, in relation to the complete streets and how much that was appreciated. But we didn't get that consideration when we spoke against the master plan. We were ignored and dismissed. So if you can, if there's any chance of revisiting that, I'd like to see it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Any other public comment for tonight? Seeing none, before I bring it back to the commission, I wanted to clarify, because it was brought up during public comment, that this was a proposal brought forward to us that the public didn't know about. Again, I just want to reiterate, this was a public comment that was reserved. It has not gone through staff. Nothing has been proposed formally. This is not us deliberating on it. That's why we're not engaging in it. If something were to be brought forward to us, it would have to go through a regular agenda item. It would be voted on. There would be motions. There would be other procedure that goes along with it. Reserved public comment can come from any number of places. It can come, we've had citizens present on whether fluoride should or shouldn't be in the water. We've had this proposal. I could sit up and tell you about my favorite K-drama in 15 minutes and sit and listen. If anybody's watched Parks and Rec and the Star Wars analogy, it's like that, but we don't have, we do have time limits. So it's 15 minutes that anybody can come talk to us about anything they want as the public. And I want to clarify that, because this is not, if there's an action item or anything else that's brought forward or anyone proposes to bring it forward, it will go through a formal process. It will go through staff. Mr. Sachs has a good reputation in this community, so I'm not going to diminish it, but none of his numbers, nothing that was presented tonight, nothing that was said in public comment in response either has been vetted by staff to go through, whether it's tax amounts coming in or out, where the tax breakdown happens. All of this is general public comment. So when we have important issues like this discussed, they do go through a formal process, and they do come on our agenda, and there is more room and time for public comment and input at that time as well. I really wanted to underline that. I saw an article written today about it as part of our agenda. Public comment is part of our agenda, but it is not something that came from staff as part of our agenda. So I wanted to make that crystal clear tonight, so that people don't go thinking that we brought forth a proposal that wasn't vetted and wasn't notified by the public. So with that, is there any final public or final general comment from my commissioners before we head off? Mitch?
Yes, kind of bookending with the now city manager's comment about residents being responsible for clearing the snow off their sidewalks. I would like to point out that we are supposed to get above freezing weather for the next 3 days, so it will be an ample opportunity for people to clear the sidewalks behind, in front of, alongside their house, their property, and throughout the city. And hopefully, when we go back to freezing temperatures after that, we can have clear and free sidewalks.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? With that very northern Michigan reminder as we go into the holidays, we thank you all. We do not meet again until January 5th as a city commission.
Next year.
So, yep, 2026. So everyone, please enjoy your holidays. I know Hanukkah just started and there's more to come, and safe travels for anyone who might. Meeting adjourned. Anybody who needs signatures can get them from any of us. And even though it went a little long, you still lucked out because we're under 2 hours.
No waiting.
Oh, no problem at all. That's better than mine would look.
We covered a lot of ground tonight. Was there anything there that was interesting to you?
15. Kind of knew that.
Thanks for being here.
You are. Thank you. You too.
Hi. I'd be happy to.
Holidays.
I did. At least it survived, right?
Still up for it. Okay.
Mine has 2.
That's a good case.
Story of my life.
Good cases are working best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
We're gonna go to Hickory.
All right. There you go. Right, yeah. Good evening. Yeah, take care. All right, thanks. All right. We're going to do the swearing in, Miss Sarah?
Yeah.
All right.
I've been drinking so much coffee.
Do it.
All right.
Anybody who's out there, we're just going to swear in Benjamin right now.
It was?
Oh, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it in the packet either.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a link in the packet? I didn't try the link.
Sorry about that. I think I had gotten emailed. We'll have an email.
Thank you.
But also,
Yeah.
Do you want to put the flags down there too?
Yeah. Oh, let me get out of the line of the camera. I don't need to.
No, not the county one.
not the county.
I think
Impale anybody.
I've seen people break these before, so we're gonna, I'm very.
Yeah. Lance helped us stage ours pictures too, so here we go.
Oh my gosh, there's just a few. Make reserve public comment.
Ready? Better?
So if I make reserve, public comment.
Are they ready?
One of you.
I, Benjamin Christopher Maritat,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
Please reserve public comment for January.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the
Following
Constitution of
the
the State
rules
of
that I
Michigan,
just heard, 'cause I'm still learning this.
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
Every time I turn around, it's like something else.
faithfully and impartially
Okay,
discharge
anyway, that opens the door.
the duties of the office of City Manager for the City of Traverse City. Thank you all. Sign on the right line.
Yeah, I did that all over.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's official. You're next.
I was waiting for somebody to call it out. Thanks, Heather.
A couple of weeks.
Thank you for the reminder. I was going to talk to Sarah about that.
Are you guys still willing to put over?
Oh, yes.
What? Heck yeah.
I'm glad your allergy